That Covenant. Why is it important to be creative? You know, a lot of people say, oh, explore your creativity. And a lot of us never really ask the question, why? Why do I need to be creative? And I'm just going to go over, some of the reasons why it's important that you are creative. And I would say the first thing is problem solving. As a human being, you need to be creative to be able to adapt to changing times. You need to be creative to be able to adapt to, changing climates, changing environments. Every other day, we just dealt with Corona. There's one new illness, there's one new pandemic coming. And if we are not creative and if we're not thinking outside the box, we would not be able to adapt, to these changing times, right? Now, you need to be creative as an entrepreneur. I know a lot of us are planning to start our own businesses or have already started our own businesses out of school. I mean, I know I started mine before I graduated. Now, if you're not creative, you're not going to be asking the right questions. Now, if you're not asking the right questions, you would not be able to compete in the fierce markets that we have today. How does one become creative? The first thing I would say is you need to embrace curiosity. Don't shy away from asking the questions. I would tell my students, no matter how stupid the question is, even if everybody else in class or everybody else in the conversation is not asking, you need to ask. So far the thought comes to mind, you should always ask. So you need to embrace curiosity because it's only when you ask questions that you seek to find answers. And it is through those answers that you can, somewhat come up with ideas that would blow yours and a lot of other people's minds. Now, another thing is you need to you need to be mindful. You need to create a mindful, will I call it spirit? Now, what does it mean to be mindful? You need to be present. Now, half the time, there's so much noise around us. There is so much going on social media. You have TikTok, you have Instagram, there is Twitter, there's one new gist, one new news. You're sitting in your hostel, your friends are bringing you gists. There is always something to distract you, and there is so much noise around you, but you need to actually try to be present within yourself. You can practice things like meditation, and you don't have to meditate for so long. You can start with 2 minutes. Trust me, focusing on just your breathing for 2 minutes might seem like not a big deal until you actually try it. And I promise you, once you do, you would just notice that things that you didn't realize start to come to mind. It was being mindful, or it was the practice of mindfulness that helped me come to the idea that it was actually time for me to start preparing for the cookathon. So the next thing I'm going to say is, you need to experiment and take risk. I think more than anything, I'm a very good example of taking a risk. I took a risk on myself, and I was not sure it was going to work out, but I had to bet on myself. And I'll tell you this, that when you bet on yourself, it's easier for people to take you seriously. If I did not believe in myself and I was not willing to make that investment and take that risk in myself, it would have been difficult to put together a team that believed in my dream with me. So you need to be willing to take risks because at the end of the day, what is the worst thing that can happen? I remember when I started the business, I didn't even have a kitchen. I was using my friend's kitchen, and then I thought about it. My brother and I did not have money to invest in a food business, but what did we do? We went and started marketing the business idea that we had. People paid us and we used their money to start the business. So we went and told them, we can deliver food to you every day for an entire month if you pay us 15,000 naira, which means that your lunch is 750 naira every day from Monday to Friday for an entire month. My mother registered, we went to Ajip, we went to some, federal government parastatals, and we got about 10 clients, and they paid us upfront, and that was how we started the business. But if we sat around and we're waiting for everything to come to us and for everything to be perfect, and we did not take that risk, we would probably not be where we are today. Maybe we would have still been on the way, we would have still been on that journey, but we probably wouldn't have gotten as far as we have gotten, right now. The next thing I'm going to say is you need to surround yourself with inspiration. I was saying to my friend, some time back that it's important that you're intentional about the kind of information that you consume. If you see something that is starting to make you feel less of yourself, you need to tell yourself the truth and block that thing. unfollow it. There are people and there are things that I would see on Instagram that I know that this can corrupt my mind. So I will block that person or I will unfollow that person so that I don't see the content that is going to feed into the negative side of my mind. You have to be intentional about the people that you hang around with, about the kind of content that you consume, about the kind of things that you read. You need to invest in your mind and invest in yourself. Whatever business, whatever job that you want to do, you need to try to be abreast of the situation. Like I would tell somebody that you cannot be selling food and not know when plantain is in season. Because when plantain is in season, it's going to be much cheaper. You can't be selling food and not know when onions is in season. Because if you know when it's in season, you will be able to buy in bulk, which means that you will save money, which increases your profits. So you need to put in the work. You need to be aware. You need to know. Like, be willing to learn on the job. Start, but don't stop learning. Don't stop learning. Like, you just have to. You have nothing to lose, I would say that. And I can tell you that for free because this is something that I practice every single day. Another thing is, you need to be persistent and you need to be an executioner. The minute an idea comes to you, the minute you think about it, just try to execute it. Don't keep it, don't wait. Procrastination is like one of the major things that have stopped a lot of us from achieving our potential. And let that not be the case for you. Even if it is something you struggle with, set realistic goals for yourself where you say, oh, for this day, I'm going to do this. I'm going to read this page. Start small. And I promise you, once you achieve those small goals, it allows you to see that the possibility of bigger goals, achieving bigger goals, is a lot more within your grasp. I remember when I started my Food by Hilda, I did not even imagine that I was ever going to get 10,000 followers. And then I started creating content every other day. And I remember when I got to 5,000 followers and I got to 10,000 followers and I was starting to get clients from my Instagram. People were ordering from me. People were trying to learn from me. And for that 10,000, I'll say, okay, let me try and do 15,000 in the next 2 months. I set realistic goals. Now, does it mean that I cannot get 15,000 followers in 2 weeks? Who knows? I might create one viral content and my page will just go. But I set realistic goals so it does not affect my self-esteem. I see a lot of us where we feel so bad. Oh, I've posted this content. My content is so great and I'm not getting followers. I'm not getting likes. I'm not getting engagement. But start small. I always say, so far your yesterday is better than today. You're making progress. You're doing better. You're doing better than you were doing yesterday. And that's good enough. The only competition that you should have is yourself. Not anybody else, not the people around you. Because I promise you, if you focus on what the people around you are doing, it stops you from seeing how far you can go. It really stops you from seeing how far you can go. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be inspired by, other people's dreams and other people's achievements and what other people are doing, but you need to also focus on your own goals and your own dreams. Because the truth is, if you're focusing on what somebody else is doing, how far they are willing to go or how far they go is a limit to how far you are going to go because you're so focused and fixated on what they are doing. Now, another thing I'll say is you need to embrace failure. I know this one is hard, but you actually need to embrace failure. Because how many of us have failed a question before? Let me tell you a quick story. I remember this time in secondary school when they said, in my class, my teacher asked, what is matter? And my hand was up. I was so excited because I'm like, I know the answer. I'm going to answer it. And my teacher picked me. And I stood up so confidently. And I defined atom instead of matter. And the whole class laughed at me. But after that day, till today, if you wake me up from sleep and you ask me, I cannot forget. So embrace your failures because failure, I would say, it's part of your creative process. Oh, I tried to make jollof rice today, but I put too much water. Because I put too much water today, I already know that the next time that I'm going to make it, I need to put less water, which means that my outcome will be better. So the truth is, every failure is almost allowing you to get closer. It allows you to get an inch closer to your success. Now, stay persistent. This one is hard. People say, oh, when you ask people that are successful, how did they do it? Oh, how did they do it? Everybody's just saying consistency. It is the truth. There's how you will post your business every single day that you start to create FOMO. You start to create a fear of missing out, that everybody feels like, this person is posting, like there's something here that I've not seen, or maybe there's something here I'm missing. I need to order from this person. I need to try. You know, some people think that ads don't convert. Sometimes people will see your ads and they will just save it. They'll save it until the day that the thoughts or the idea for it comes to mind, and they will go back to their saved items, and then they will reach out to you. And you will not know that it is that ad that you posted some time back that you just kept giving Instagram or Facebook or Meta money to just keep, putting out there, that made this customer come to you. Not customers, because you people will have plenty. But I know that, practicing some of these things or most of it, and by the grace of God, you would all be successful in whatever endeavors or business or jobs that you set out to do in life. So when you become successful, there are certain things that you need to do to enjoy, this success. And I want to say this, that you need to practice gratitude. You need to be grateful for every tiny thing. Like, I'm telling you, for me, I am thankful for the smallest things. I wake up in the morning and I'll tell God, Father, thank you. Thank you that I'm breathing well. Thank you that I can blink. Thank you for my lashes. Thank you for my eyes. He's my father, so I would literally thank him for the smallest things. Oh my God, my fingers, they're so nice. Thank you. And you need to practice gratitude. When one customer buys from you, a thank you note, I'm so grateful, because everybody has ego. And when you stroke our ego, it goes a long way. So yeah, try it. Stroke your lecturer's ego and let me see how he will not come to work smiling. Have you ever gotten a compliment where they say, you always smell so nice? The minute you get that compliment, what happens the next day? You spray the perfume a little bit more, because there's something that compliment did for you, that you want to experience that feeling again. So you now want to become something that you were not aware of or conscious of. You now want to become the girl or the boy that smells nice. So every day you're taking extra time to shower, to spray yourself. So try this with your customers, with your lecturers, with your parents, with your friends. And I would also say this, that you are as good as the people around you. My friend that currently handles my interior was the person that housed me when I came to Lagos and I didn't have anywhere to stay. And I remember walking into her house and I was like, her house was really small and cute. And I'm like, your house is so fine. And she's like, I just like DIY. And I said, no, you have an eye for interior and you're going to do my first house. And at the time, she had no idea that she was going to go into interior. And I tell you that 6 years down the line, she did my first house, did my second house, did my restaurant, is doing my new restaurant, has done jobs for a lot of people around me. And I have done jobs for her as well. So imagine when I become a billionaire. Just imagine it. When I become a billionaire and I have $1 million project, who am I going to call? That same friend. Because she delivers all the time. That's another thing. Please, you should always deliver. Don't think it's friendship. If she was not good at her job, even as my friend, I may not call her. So you will always deliver. But then, because I am surrounded by good people that have the same values as me, that are interested in growth of themselves and my growth, we are moving together. So don't forget this, that you are as good as the people around you. So you need to be intentional about the kind of people that you foster relationships with. Whether it's a friendship, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a business, contract, whatever it is, you need to always remember that your business is as good as the people around you. You as a person are as good as the people around you. I'm sure you've seen some things happen and you're like, doesn't this person have friends? Are they not advising her? Because you think that she's just as good as the people around her. Okay? The last thing I'm going to say is you need to continuously improve yourself. You need to make it a habit to constantly learn and grow. And when I say learn, it's not just, not just textbook learning. You need to improve your mind. Try reading consciousness expanding books. Because when your mind is healthy, you are healthy. Right? Your learning does not stop within the four walls of the university or of the secondary school. You need to be interested in bettering yourself, because I promise you, it feels so good. It feels so good to walk into a conversation that you did not even plan for and be knowledgeable about things that you'd never thought that you were going to have to speak on or have to talk about. So once you experience that feeling, it's sweet. It's very nice. When somebody looks at you, especially for a nice looking girl, you know, a lot of people assume that girls that are beautiful and look a certain way, they don't really have sense. Right? So you need to break that stereotype. Fine boys, they only know how to go to the gym. You need to break that stereotype. So when people see you, they are so surprised. And the statement is, oh my God, I never knew that you were this smart. Oh, I want to hear you speak more. Oh, you should speak more. Oh, you should converse more. And then I want to hear from you. And I trust you with my business. Trust me, all these things I'm telling you, it will come in handy when you are working, when you're doing a business, whatever the case may be. And I know that the God that I serve is going to bless you and every single thing that concerns you. I hope that with these few points of mine, I have been able to convince you and not confuse you that you need to be creative. Thank you so much, guys.